Hi there, my name is Connor Ferris from Ingram Micro. This is the Work from Anywhere series with Ingram, LogMeIn, and of course Poly. So here we are today looking at the GoToRoom and Poly. As you know, huddle rooms are still really relevant to customers, you as a customer, and we've found that the need for the huddle room has grown more and more as we go through the current situation. So we've got three speakers today. Obviously myself, Connor Ferris, introducing, and then we have Joe Walsh from LogMeIn, Peter Holland from Poly, and Tony Chamberlain, also from Poly. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Peter, who's going to take you through what Poly have to offer. Thank you.
Thanks, Connor. So my name is Peter Holland. I work in the ITSP team here at Poly in the UK. So I just wanted to talk to you this morning briefly, guys, about Studio X and the importance of having a really good endpoint to complement the GoToRoom solution. So we have two products, Studio X30 and Studio X50. They're both video and audio bars, and they're designed effectively to sit in a small meeting room or huddle space, and in a medium meeting room as well. So X30, small meeting room, X50, large meeting room. Both come with a touch panel display called the TC8, which supports the native GoToRoom UI as well. So from a end user perspective, whether they're using GoToRoom at home on their laptop, or whether they're walking into an office and joining a call, they're going to get that same user experience, that same UI, wherever they are in the world or around the globe. So what is Studio X? So effectively, it's an audio and video bar. It's got an excellent electronic pan tilt zoom camera. So those who are familiar with the cameras that tend to move and swivel, this is built in and done electronically, which means it can do very clever features such as speaker tracking. So if a person gets up and starts to move around the room, it will track that active speaker. If people are having a conversation around the table, it will zoom in on the active speaker. And it also frames a room as well. So when people then start talking amongst themselves, it will frame the people in the room. Even if somebody gets out and leaves the room, it will reframe the room so it's only showing the people who are actively in that meeting or actively in that room. So really, really smart camera technology. And then on top of that, from an audio perspective, we've built in some very good noise reduction features. You know, we've all seen or been involved in conferences where we've had disturbances with dogs barking or people's mowers, especially in lockdown, with people working from home, with noise being introduced to the call. And even in the offices, you get the same thing. So Poly have introduced two new features on the Studio X series, Poly Noise Block AI and Acoustic Fence. So what Noise Block AI does is effectively mutes users if they're not talking. So if you're on a conference and I'm not talking, I decide to type an email, more often than not, you'll hear the keyboard as I'm typing away. Noise Block AI removes that noise when I'm not talking. So it stops any disturbances coming onto the call. Acoustic Fence, what Acoustic Fence does effectively puts a beam around the meeting room. So it puts you typically set it to the meeting room size, and then it puts a virtual beam around that meeting room, and then anything outside of that beam, the noise gets filtered away. So again, you know, thinking about background noise in offices or air conditioning units or something like that. So really, two really nice features in terms of you know, helping with that noise quality or removing of the noise to improve the voice quality of the conference. Content sharing is really important because it's not about video anymore. It's all about collaboration. So the way we share information with our colleagues. So we support content sharing via either HDMI or wirelessly as well. And then lastly, as I probably mentioned earlier, very easy to join. So one-touch join meetings. So as a user walks into the room, they're greeted an interface. Their 10 o'clock meeting is displayed on that interface, and they literally do join meeting, one button join. So really, really simple to use. So 5 reasons I would say customers should consider Poly X when using GoToRoom. Very clean, very easy and clean to install. So minimal cables, simple to install, simple to mount either under a monitor on a wall or even on a stand. centrally managed by LogMeIn, so any issues, these devices are centrally managed, so you don't have to worry about somebody locally having to come into the office to try to fix a problem. As I mentioned, very simple to use, so people walk in, very intuitive user interface, so literally join my meeting, that's all they have to do. Background noise I've talked about, and lastly, the fifth reason is the cameras I mentioned, so the framing, the camera tracking features. So 5 key features I would say for people who are looking at an endpoint to complement GoToRoom on the Studio X. So I've talked about this, there's a picture of it there. This is a TC8, this is what's sat in the center of the room. So it's a single RJ45 in the back of the TC8. And on there, it displays a native interface for GoToRoom. So as I said, the familiar interface for users to come in. They walk in, the calendar's displayed, their meeting's displayed, and they can join it. And from there, they can control the meeting in terms of, muting themselves, move camera presets, adjusting the volume, etc., etc. And finally, just a comparison, as I said, Studio X30 is really designed for that small meeting room, so up to 4 people. Studio is more medium-sized meeting room, up to 8 people. And there's some differences then in the actual 2 products. So the X50 has got stereo speakers, the pickup range on the microphone is greater, the electronic zoom on the camera is better. It's got some camera presets as well. It also supports an external microphone. So if the room is large and there's a large table in there, then if an external microphone is needed, you can add one, but it does support a 25-foot pickup range anyway. So the chances of you needing an external mic probably few and far between as well. So they're the main differences between the X50 and X30. Really, it's meeting room size. So it's really important to make sure that when considering which product you pick, think about the meeting room, think about where the studio is going to be mounted, and then make your decisions from there. So I think that's me covered in terms of giving over the hardware. So what I would like to do is pass over to my colleague Tony, who's just going to show you physically what the studios look like and what you get in the box, just to give you that idea really of how simple these devices are to certainly install. Tony?
Okay, thanks, Peter. My name's Tony Chamberlain. I'm a system engineer with Poly, and I'm just going to show you very quickly what comes in the box when you buy either of these kits. With every kit, you'll get a TC8 controller, which is a touchscreen controller, which has a single network connection on the back. So the power and the network both come in over the Ethernet cable, so there's only one cable that needs to go onto the conference table or wherever. You also come with cables, an Ethernet cable, a Ethernet cable for each of the units, a power cable and power supply, and a HDMI cable to connect your video bar to your monitor. These are the units themselves: X30, X50s. Bring the camera back out so that you can see a size comparison of the two. The X30, which is the smaller of the bars, has got a single mono speaker in it. So it's not stereo sound, it's mono sound. It's designed for the smaller rooms. It has a privacy cover that goes over the camera in case you need that. And then underneath, it has a mount for a monitor mount or a tripod or whatever mount you want to put on there. It has a HDMI in for content sharing and a HDMI out for your monitor. It has a USB-C connector if you want to use this as a peripheral camera on a laptop or whatever system, and it has an Ethernet connection and the power connection. The X30 also comes with a monitor mount for mounting on top of a monitor. The X50, as you can see, is a larger device. but visually it's almost identical to the X30, although this has stereo speakers. This has a speaker on each side of the unit, and on the back the connectors are at the back of the unit on either side, as you can see there. It also comes as standard with a wall mount, so that you can mount the unit on a wall. These units can also be mounted upside down if you want to put them underneath a monitor. And they can come with an optional faceplate so that the Poly logo stays up the same way. And you can set the unit to flip the image so that you can use the unit upside down as a unit.
Thanks,
Okay,
Tony. So I think, Tony, it's just going over the point again, really, it's just showing really how easy those devices are to install, right? So literally, you're talking with the X30, minutes to
have one
on a monitor, right? With the X50, obviously, if it's wall mounted, you have to drill the wall, so that takes a little bit longer. But it's not a complex install. It's not a complex setup. It's 4 cables and your options, and that's it. So really easy to install, as well as being really easy to use, right? Which is important.
Yeah, that's right. Just 3 cables for the video bar, 1 cable for the controller. That's all that's required.
All right, I think, Connor, I'll jump in here and just pick up where the guys left off. So great to see the X30 and the X50. Really exciting new ranges into the hardware world for huddle rooms and meeting room experience. And so much so, we at LogMeIn, we've had a great relationship with Poly. We continue that relationship with Poly. And the great thing about the X30 and the X50 is that it can come with GoToMeeting, our meeting software enabled on the devices. Okay, and that's a great new addition to our range of hardware tools that includes other great Poly devices as well. But from the X30 and the X50 perspective, new additions, really exciting hardware. And what's great with the GoToRoom device, with the LogMeIn GoToMeeting video conference put on top of it, there's 2 procurement options for organizations, right? They can go CapEx up front, they can buy the device outright in one lump sum, or they can actually get room as a service, okay, where it comes with the software license for GoToMeeting, and it comes with the hardware, on a price per room per month basis, which removes any kind of upfront costs that might be barrier to entries for organizations, particularly now, right? You alluded to the top of the hour that huddle rooms are becoming a lot more dominant in the market, and that's in some ways because of the negative things we've had in 2020. We've had COVID. It's transformed how we work. It's brought video conferencing right into the kind of the mainstream comms tools that people use day to day across all organizations. Like, the usage on video conferencing has increased 5-6-fold over the last 6 to 9 months or so. And that's why the meeting rooms are becoming far more important, because as organizations get used to the new normal, we expect largely most people will go back to the office once we find ourselves at the other side of COVID, but there will be a lasting impact. We do expect there to be a greater number of people always working, from a remote location, be that once or twice or 3 times a week, working from home, greater flexibility in their work life, because we've seen people really enjoy that over the last 6 to 9 months, that that's going to change the amount of people that need to be brought into meetings, disparate meetings, right? So that means you need more conferencing tools in meetings to bring those people in. And the rooms in offices are becoming smaller, more huddle room size, because we want less people in the room. We don't want the same amount of people in the room, because we want to reduce those close contacts. We want to reduce those many people meeting together. So, huddle rooms, like, really becoming a lot more important, a lot more dominant for organizations. And because video conferencing is there, you need to kit out those rooms for better video conferencing as well. So if we look at the next slide, we can look a little bit more at GoToMeeting and what it allows you to do in the room. And what's really important about when you're choosing your meeting devices is your conferencing platform, okay? And when it comes to meetings, when it comes to solutions like that, what do you always want to look for? And what you get with GoToMeeting is you get reliability, okay? We've been the most reliable meeting solutions in the market since COVID struck. You want to get really good performance, right? Because you've so many people working from remote locations, you're dealing with all different types of broadband connections, regardless of where you find yourself. And you want to make sure that even on the weakest broadband connection, people can have a fantastic experience when it comes to audio and it comes to video quality, okay? And GoToMeeting is a leading solution out there for that. And that extends right into your room, okay? So if you've got a meeting room in the office, that meeting will only be as good as the broadband connection that that person has, whether in Wales, whether in Ireland, whether in the UK, in Scotland or England, no matter where they are and where they find themselves, that broadband connection is going to impact that meeting experience in the office for everybody else as well. So they're the kind of real advantages you get with GoToMeeting coming with the Poly X30 and the Poly X50. And you also get great mobile tools as well. You can actually start a meeting from your mobile device. You can launch it, reducing the amount of touches that you have within organizations. Okay, so you don't have the same fingers on the touchpad or different fingers on the touchpad all day. If you want to go to a more of a touchless environment, you have those mobile applications and those mobile tools to start those meetings for you as well. So if we jump on to the next slide, I think we can kind of wrap up a little bit just in terms, again, the different types of tools that you get with GoToMeeting in terms of your conference rooms, the diary, the calendar for the room, where people can easily see if the room's booked, if it's not booked. There's a huge amount of advantages to having these hardware tools like the Poly X30, like the Poly X50, pre-built in with the meeting solutions like GoToMeeting. It just really adds a huge amount of extra value to those huddle room meetings, those meetings where you're bringing people in from disparate locations, and allows people to collaborate and communicate in a far more efficient, seamless manner, and a better meeting experience for everybody.
Great stuff. Thanks, Joe. I think we can all see from that having both those products together is just amalgamated into one great big massive, it's just a great thing for us to have and to be able to offer that. So through Ingram, we have solutions architects sitting in Ingram. We've got myself, which I'm a dedicated big DE for Poly alone. So any customers out there who need any options on the Poly, need demo kit, or just a chat about what's available to them, please do come to me or any of our solutions architects. All that's left for me to do is to say a massive thank you to Peter Holland from Poly, Tony Chamberlain from Poly, and of course, Joe Walsh from LogMeIn. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys. Thanks very much.
Thanks. Cheers.